Hi everybody and welcome to a competitive commander gameplay video. Now this is actually game 2. For those that missed it, we're actually playing the pod Pontus drafted for his MLC tournament. Pontus is going to play all of these 4 decks against other people that are in that Major League Champions cEDH tournament. Pontus has actually even uploaded a draft video where he goes over his thought process drafting these 4 decks for that tournament. And there will be a link for that video in the description below of the video, as well as up there in the corner. I was accidentally just about to spoil who won game 1, but there will be a link to game 1 in the description below of the video as well. So let's take a look at people's opening hand and figure out what is the strongest deck among these 4 that Pontus drafted.
We're back for a second game where I'm the starting player. My first hand is... it does have a lot of things that you kind of want to have. It's a turn 2 Tevesh with the Grafting cEDH. And honestly, that's pretty good. I kind of missed that when I was first looking at it. And Grafting cEDH is really strong in this pod. Tevesh is kind of weak because of the 2 Dargos, but hopefully I'll get some value out of it before it dies.
Alright, new game. Hand is sort of sketch. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't know, we'll see.
Alright, this is our starting 7. I don't know if this hand is good or not. It feels like it might be, but I'm going to actually try and do better, so we're going to mulligan this hand. Yeah, I think this is what we want. We have Pattern Rebirth, so we can go get Razakath, sacrifice Dargo.
This hand is kind of all in on the Esper Sentinel. It's a lot of really good cards here, and I really like this hand. Divining Witch, that's a combo piece. We have a tutor for the second part, the fastest oracle for Divining Witch. We have a Seedborn Muse. I think I'm actually gonna cape this hand because it's a really safe hand. We have a demonic tutor, so we have solutions to things that are happening in the game. It's a slow hand, but it's a safe hand that can get somewhere. Being my first 7, I should probably mulligan this for something more explosive, but I think I want to play the safe game here. And with that, let's start the match.
I will draw to start off the game. I'll play an Ancient Tomb, tap it, paying 2 life, casting a Grim Monolith, and then I'll pass the turn.
Moving to my turn, I will play a Blood Crypt, taking 2, and then I will tap said Blood Crypt, and I shall play an Imperial Seal. Yeah, I'm done after that.
Alright, I'll go to my turn. We'll play this Luxury Suite. We will play a Lotus Petal. We'll crack Lotus Petal for red, and tap that for red, and cast a Megdo. And with that, I will pass the turn.
I'm gonna go and draw a card. I'm gonna put this Savannah into play, tap it for an Esper Sentinel, and pass the turn.
Take my turn. So we could be responsible here and not let Mons draw. But I actually think getting the Grafting cEDH down early is more important. And it's such a strong stack piece versus each of the decks. And so even though I let Mons draw here when I can choose not to, I'll actually let him draw. Land for turn is a Godless Shrine, which I will shock in. I'll tap 6 mana, losing 2 life. I'll use 5 of them to cast Tevesh Sat. You may draw off Esper Sentinel.
Esper Sentinel draws a card.
Then I'll +2 Tevesh, making 2 thralls. Then I'll use my floating mana to cast a Grafting cEDH. And with that, I'll pass my turn.
I will tap 1, I'll play DRC, Mana Crypt, Surreal Trigger.
Esper Sentinel draws a card.
I'll let this Vanishing Verse go into my graveyard. I'll tap 2, and I'll play a Grim Monolith. Surreal Trigger. I'll let this Grim Hireling go to my graveyard. And then I will do so much as to pass turn.
Okay, I'll play this Spire Garden rather. I will go to combat, and I will attack Tevesh for 2, and trigger Magda, make a treasure.
I will block with the throw.
Okay, I'm going to crack this for a black. Tap that, tap for black, and I'm going to Praetor's Grasp on us.
Are you doing that because we're running the same deck?
We're doing that because you tutored.
Fair point.
Esper Sentinel draws a card.
Alright, we took Dockside with the Praetor's Grasp because I think it'll help us win next turn. Praetor's Grasp resolves, I've got my card, and I will pass the turn.
Go to my turn, untap and draw a card. So, Esper Sentinel drew us some really good stuff. We also have now a Neoform in our hand that can be used to sacrifice Esper Sentinel into a Phasas, and we have the Witch in our hand too. I'm really scared about the board state. People have been tutoring a lot. I could use my Demonic Tutor to find a counter spell versus these guys. Like a force here, actually. early. So using the demonic tutor to find a force is slowing me down. But honestly, maybe that's the play I like have to do. I mean, or I would rather find a stacks piece and cast a stacks piece, because just finding a force of negation versus one thing from 3 different players isn't great either. I don't want to use the demonic tutor for a force, but I feel like I need to. Because casting Divining Witch and passing a turn and hoping that I draw into a force of negation with the Esper Sentinel is a little bit risky. So that's what we're doing. It's gonna be a demonic tutor, and I'm gonna play a Scalding Tarn. I'm gonna sacrifice a Scalding Tarn for an Underground Sea. Then, tapping for 2, casting a demonic tutor. Demonic tutor resolves, and I find a cool card, and I wanna proceed to my end step where I have to discard to hand size. I'm discarding 1 land and a Seedborn Muse. Discarding Seedborn Muse might sound a little bit strange, but I have a Necromancy in my hand, so I can actually use the Necromancy to target my Seedborn Muse, which is better, paying 3 instead of 5, so I kind of like that play actually.
Take my turn. So I kind of want to protect Tevesh here. Sacrificing the Thrall seems kind of counterintuitive, but I might draw in, and hopefully draw into a blue land, so that I can cast Ishai. Anis is 1 card away from having Delirium on his Baron's Rage Channeler, and if he gets that, and I run attacks Tevesh here, he will take 6. 3, 5, 6, yeah. Going down to 2 if I don't get it, 1 if I don't get it, and 2 if I get it. So I actually think plussing here and sacrificing the Troll is the right call, even though it's a bit more risky for me to be able to keep him. Worst case scenario is play Esper and pass. I also want to get 2 blue mana to be able to cast Mana Drain going forward, but that's a bit far, probably. But I'll +1 Tevesh, sacrificing a Thrall to draw 2 cards. Land for turn will be a Spire of Industries. Then I'll tap 4, taking 3 damage, to cast a Ishai. If that's good, I'll pass my turn.
Moving to my draw. I'm going to tap 3 for a Wheel of Fortune, Surveil Trigger, and not back for Esper Sentinel.
Hey, so obviously we're a little sad about this because we have a combo piece in our hand, but because the Grab Trigger's Cage is pretty useless right now, so I am actually more than okay with this Wheel of Fortune.
I'm really torn about what I should do right now. Should I use the force to counter this, or should I draw a new hand? My hand is quite okay. I like my hand, and the fact that they want to wheel might indicate. So here's the look at it. Like, listen guys, I like my hand. Anis apparently doesn't like his hand because he wants to wheel. Pontus isn't a problem because he's not in priority. I'm gonna have my turn before Pontus, so we don't care about Pontus here. The question is Jordan. Do I think that Jordan's hand is scary? If Jordan's hand is scary, I need this to resolve. If Jordan's hand isn't that scary, I should force this. With Jordan's Magda in play, and that's kind of all he has, I'm a little bit torn on what he's up to. Magda is more of a grindy card, so I'm gonna gamble that Jordan's hand isn't scary, and therefore I'm gonna force.
Esper Sentinel draws a card.
I'm gonna cast Force of Will, paying a life, pitching this Volrath's Shapeshifter.
So Mons wanting to counter this is kind of interesting. I could counter his counter. I don't necessarily want to wheel. My hand is kind of slow, but it's also like it has a lot of mid-range value pieces. Like Esper Sentinel is great, Vanishing Converse is good removal to have. Paladin class feels like it should be a really good grind piece. And both Jordan and Anis has 4 cards in hand here, so they don't have that much gas going, and the wheel could really help them. The problem is if I force here, I will have no interaction on their turns, or at least on Jordan's turn, and that's a bit scary. Mons probably won't have interaction either, because he threw away his force here, and I assume Jordan has something. He also, like Praetor's Grasp, so he has some cards from Anis. So Jordan is pretty scary here. He will keep the Praetor's Grasp card either way, so he's scary either way. So I think I'll have to counter this and let us wheel. But it's really on the edge. It's really scary. Hopefully I made the right call, and we'll see. Maybe Jordan just wins here. In response to your Force of Will, I will cast a Force of Negation, pitching Mana Drain, targeting Force of Will. You may draw.
Esper Sentinel draws a card.
I have no response to this. I'll let it resolve.
I'm actually super happy. I'm gonna tap my Grim Monolith for Arcane Signet. Yes, I will tap for 3. I'll use 2 to cast Arcane Signet, and then with the 1 floating and my Arcane Signet, I'm gonna cast it the Demonic Tutor. Everyone passing on Surveil Trigger, I am going to let. I'll leave that on top, and then I'll Demonic Tutor. Yeah, and I'll play Marsh Flats. I'll put a card into my hand, and I'll pass turn.
Alright, I'll go to my turn. Okay, so we're gonna start things off with a Scalding Tarn, and we're gonna crack it and get a Badlands. We're gonna play a Jeweled Lotus.
Esper Sentinel draws a card.
We just drew something amazing. We drew a demonic consultation, and we have a final fortune in our hand, and we do have a mana crypt and a mana confluence. We have exactly 5 mana on my turn. However, we can't win because no, we can. We need to use Diabolic Intent to sacrifice Esper Sentinel, put Thassa in our hand, cast Thassa Demonic Consultation, because we can't use Final Fortune to get Thassa into play because of Grafdigger's Cage, but we're really close.
I'm gonna tap 2 and play my card from Praetor's Grasp, which is a Dockside Extortionist. I'm casting your Dockside. So you got 6 total?
Yeah, I'll flip over the card Jordan took, which is this Dockside.
Yeah, I'm going to pay a green, and I'm going to Besage you the Grafdigger's Cage. We're going to pay 1 red and cast a Skirk Prospector. We're going to move to combat. We'll attack Mons for 2 with Magda, and I'll make another treasure.
I'm going to be responsible here, and I'm gonna put my Esper Sentinel in front of it, so your Magda is going to die here.
Magda will die. I'm going to sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 treasures. Sacrifice the Dockside Extortionist to cast Razaketh.
This is a problem, guys.
I have nothing against this.
Alright, I'm going to crack my Jeweled Lotus for 3 red. I'm going to spend 1 red to cast Dargo. I'm going to sack Dargo to Razaketh. Alright, so to start things off, I'm going to cast a Chromox. I'm going to exile this Eldritch Evolution. I'm going to pay a green to Besage you the Grafdigger's Cage. Alright, I'm going to spend another red to recast Dargo, and I'm going to sack him again to search for another card. Alright, I'm going to cast the Lion's Head Diamond. I'm going to spend my last Jeweled Lotus red mana to recast Dargo and sack him. And I'm going to, with the sack trigger on the stack, I'm going to crack LED. Or with the search trigger on the stack, I'm going to crack LED. Spend 2 red mana for my LED to cast Underworld Breach. I'm going to escape Lion's Eye Diamond and crack it again to make 3 more red. Then I'm going to spend 1 red to replay Dargo. I'm going to sack Dargo to Razaketh. I'm going to play Burgi. I'm going to escape Lion's Eye Diamond again. I'm going to crack it, making 3 red mana. I'm going to escape it again, crack it, make 6 mana, and I'm going to escape it again, I'm making 9 red mana. I'm going to spend 1 of that red mana to recast Dargo, sack it to Razaketh. I'm going to spend 2 red mana to cast Ultra Dementia. I'm going to pay 1 red to replay Dargo. So the way this combo is going to work is Dargo's only ever going to cost 1 because of his sacrifice ability, and so every time I sacrifice him, it adds to his commander tax, so he's only ever going to cost 1 red mana, and I'm going to net 1 red mana every time because of Burgi, and I'm going to use Ultra Dementia to mill out all of my opponents. Well, the primer for this deck says Dargo go burr, and that's what we did.
Yeah, no, that was a rough game. Losing our Dockside hurts. Better luck next time.
Yeah, that Wheel of Fortune really shaped the game there.
Dargo won pretty fast. I didn't even get to have a turn free.